Hi, welcome to my review of James Cameron's long-awaited sequel, Avatar 2: The Way of Water. So this story takes place years in the future, where Jake and Neytiri now have a family and they are forced to hide out in the ocean islands of Pandora after an old threat resurfaces. So this film has sat in production now for 13 years due to all the difficulties of getting it written, getting everything greenlit, and working around the delays due to COVID and everything. So there is a lot of expectation built around this sequel. So I was a little bit skeptical at first when James Cameron said he had 4 additional sequels to that original Avatar planned. I think that movie worked very well on its own. It concluded the whole story. And I would be very happy if that was the only Avatar we ever had. But the question is here with this sequel, does James Cameron manage to find a way to tell a new engaging story and build upon everything that he did in the previous film? So my answer to that is definitely yes. I actually think that James Cameron has done an amazing job with this film, and I had such an enjoyable time watching this. So this is going to be a spoiler-free review. I will be as vague as I can when I talk about certain elements. But obviously, in order to review the film, I have to touch on a few things. So if you want to go in completely blind, go out and see the movie first and then come back to this review. So getting into what I loved about Avatar 2, I've got to say I'm so happy I've finally gone out to see an Avatar film in the cinema, because this thing is visually absolutely incredible. It's actually mesmerizing, all of the scenery, all of this new creature design around the ocean islands, and the effects work in this film is just astounding. You genuinely can't tell the line between the CGI effects and the practical work because the transitions are so seamless. I could happily, if there was nothing else to recommend about the film other than the visuals, I'd probably still tell you to get out and see it first thing, because it was really, really impressive. So we're introduced here to a number of new characters, with this story mainly focusing on Jake and Neytiri's kids. And this was something, when I saw the initial trailers and plot for the film, was something that I wasn't that excited about, just because I felt like they concluded Jake and Neytiri's story so well in the first film. It was a complete story arc. So I felt like if they're having kids, are they just going to be doing the same thing again with these, young children going out, seeing the wonders and the amazement of Pandora, and just going through exploring this world again with different characters? But no, they decided to set the movie a few years ahead to where these characters are already quite experienced in this world of Pandora, so you don't have to go through, learning everything from scratch in this world again. And just because of the way these characters have been written and the way they're played, you do really get into their stories quite early on, and I think they did do a really good job with this here in Avatar 2. I really liked here as well that I think they fleshed the characters out a lot better here than they did in the original Avatar, and just gave the characters more complexities, I think. And this is especially the case with the Colonel who returns here. I love Stephen Lang anyway, so I was more than happy to have his character return and play that same character again, even though I did think in some ways it was a little bit one-dimensional. But here they do expand on his story, give him a few different elements that we haven't seen before, and made him an all-round more interesting character. So this was a real improvement to this story, I think. I really enjoyed what they did with his story arc here. But the thing I loved the most about Avatar 2 was that I just felt like there were real stakes in this movie. The fact that at certain points you do feel the danger that certain characters are in, and because of how they've been built up, you're so invested in them, you really do worry for them at certain points of the movie. And the thing about having stakes is that it just makes the action so much more exciting. The action set pieces here, don't get me wrong, they are off the scale good here. They are just incredible. But when you care about these characters, when the movie has taken its time to properly invest you in them, and then you have a number of situations that are stressful to watch because you do really feel like some people might not make it out of this alive, it really invests you in the action and all of this chaos that you're seeing on screen. So that was something that I have to praise here, and that is what makes this, in my opinion, a better film than the original. So now just getting into a few more of the mixed elements I had about the movie, and one of them was the length. Not that it was a massive problem for me, but this to me felt a little bit more like a director's cut, or like an expanded version of the film that you would get after its theatrical release. I think for the casual Avatar fan, that middle section especially will feel too long for a lot of people. There's no pointless scenes here. They all are here to expand this world of Pandora and give you more character development, and it all ties in very nicely to the end of the story. But just in this initial setup and that middle section especially, I think you could cut bits out of that, and I think it would just make the movie move along at a slightly better pace, for more, as I said, for more of those casual Avatar fans. But that final sequence really is so perfect to me. So you never really know, by taking bits away from earlier segments of the film, whether it would take away from a lot of the payoffs you get towards the end. But I did think, though, that overall there are scenes that if you took out here, I don't necessarily think they would be missed. Another thing here as well is, because in the first movie, Jake and Neytiri's arc was effectively completed, and they had like a fully rounded out story. So in this film, it feels like they get a little bit more sidelined, especially Neytiri. You don't really get much character development with her in this film. It's much more focused on the kids. And not that this was a problem, because I was more than happy to go along with the new character story we were going on, but I did find myself noticing that it felt like she wasn't really given that much to do here. And when you've got such a standout actress like Zoe Saldana, I feel like maybe they could have given her a few more things for her character to go through here. And the last thing I'll say is that watching this Avatar sequel is that it made me realise that in the future of these Avatar sequels, I would like to see more of a grey area between the humans and the Na'vi. It does feel like here that the storyline wants to tell you that, humans bad, Na'vi good, simple as that. But the story here is that Earth's dying and humans are, as far as we know, being forced to move off of the planet. It just so happens that in the frame of this story, they've chosen to try and colonize a planet that is already occupied by the Na'vi, and they're effectively just protecting their own from this invasion, which is a good enough story. But the way all the humans here are portrayed is just that they're purely villains. There's no shade of grey here whatsoever. They're absolutely villain characters. And I think there's more you could explore between the humans and the Na'vi in the further sequels. So that's something that I would definitely like to see. So overall, I thought this was an amazing film, and I had such a great time going to watch this at the cinema. I think it really has built on and upped everything that James Cameron did in his original Avatar. So I think anybody that was a fan of that first film, you're going to be in for a real treat going to see this sequel. I'm going to give this film a 4.5 out of 5-star rating. Thank you very much for watching my review of Avatar 2: The Way of Water. I'm going to be doing a full James Cameron film ranking, going through every movie that he's ever released. So look forward to that. Please like and subscribe if you've enjoyed my video, and I'll see you next time.